Texas football comes out with a win after their week off. Texas soccer starts gearing up for their championship tournament, and the Astros won the World Series, which I'm sure everyone is happy to hear. All this and more on College Crossfire, starting right now.
Coming back to that 2021 MVP. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Mack. He's not better than Mahomes. I can't say that.
What you kick, you get kicked.
You know, bag of money or whatever, some food inside them. No, that is a great answer. How dare you? Oh, man.
All right, good evening, one and all. Welcome into College Crossfire, the best collegiate sports debate show in the entire world. I am not your host, Tommy Yarrish, as he is currently spending the week standing outside of Justin Fields' house, holding a boombox over his head, professing his love for him like he can say anything. So I am your substitute host, Jordan Geelhoed. Usually I'm behind the wall here in master control, directing the show from the shadows, but today I will be here in the host chair. Big shout out to director Adam Ogburn for subbing in back there, letting me do my thing here. And I will be overseeing our contestants, hoping to do half as good a job as Tommy normally does. But enough about me. As I said, let's meet our contestants. On first base, coming back after winning last week and after winning 3 weeks in a row, looking to notch a third W, looking fly doing it. It is Courtney Machani. How you doing?
Doing good. Thankful and grateful to be here once again, third time. Had to wear a suit. Just, feel good, play good. So, yeah, I'm ready to talk some Texas sports.
Absolutely. Your suit game is threatening me. I think it's overpassing me at this point. But, yeah, it should be good. All right. Second base, I'm sure he's already sweating the outcome of tomorrow's Falcons-Panthers game. But we got the Gooseman, Justin Goosman. How you doing?
Doing well. Thrilled to be here, ready to talk some sports, and I will be sweating out that Falcons game, that's for sure.
Nice, fantastic. I mean, it's going to be raining, so sweat, rain, it's all the same thing. And on third base, she did so well in her College Crossfire debut last week. We just had to bring her back. It is Stella Laitmna. How are you doing tonight, Stella?
Very excited to be here. Second time on the show. Excited to talk Texas sports.
Absolutely. All right. I hope you all are ready. So let's get cooking, all right? Let's chef up these hot takes. Let's get in the kitchen. So, after a much-needed bye week, Texas football had a very tough meeting on the schedule with the Kansas State Wildcats, who had previously walloped their opponent, Oklahoma State, 48-0. However, in the face of this, Texas didn't flinch, putting up 34 points in a primetime victory on the road. Bijan Robinson was clearly the star for the Longhorns, just as he has been all season long, as Robinson tallied 209 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown for good measure. But while Bijan's greatness can and should be celebrated, it wasn't by his hand alone that this game was won. Contestants, who do you think was an unsung hero that contributed to this win that should get more love? And Courtney, we'll start with you.
So I think the defense definitely deserves more praise, and I think Jalen Ford was actually MVP of the defense, but I think the unsung hero of the defense was interior lineman Keandre Coburn. 6'2", 350, big guy, heart of the defense. He's been there for a while. He had I believe 1 sack, 3 QB pressures, 2 forced fumbles, one that pretty much ended the game. And he's actually the highest rated interior defensive lineman over top prospects like Jalen Carter this week. And so I believe with his presence in that middle, especially with the D-line that has been fading and kind of been having issues this whole season, I think he was definitely unsung hero past Saturday.
Absolutely. I was rooting so hard for them to get that forced fumble, the first one that rolled out of bounds, but thankfully he had another one, and that one ended the game perfect. Yeah, he was really, really good for the Longhorns. Justin?
I got to go with the offensive line as a unit. You know what they talk about when they talk about the offensive line is you have to play together. If there's not communication on that front, you're not going to be able to play at your best. We talked about Bijan Robinson being so successful, rushing for over 200 yards and a touchdown. But Roschon Johnson was also able to get behind that offensive line, rush for over 60 yards, averaged 8.9 yards per carry. And Quinn Ewers didn't take a single sack. That entire offensive line did their job the entire night. Quinn looked very comfortable. Every single blitz was picked up. So I'd have to go with the offensive line as a whole.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I know Bijan, those 209 rushing yards look good, but he doesn't get those without the offensive line clearing the way.
Exactly.
Stella?
I think our defense definitely looks better, which is great. I think we still need significant improvement, but I think threw 329 yards. And early on in the fourth quarter, he made it a touchdown game, which I think gave us that push that we needed. Although it kind of came close at the end, I think that he kind of clinched the win for Texas and helped out significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. That defense, it looked a little bit shaky towards the end, but thankfully they held on, got the W. So on this one, Justin, I really liked your answer about the offensive line, so I'm going to give you 3. Courtney, I think you're going to get the 2, and Stella, you're going to get the 1. All right, let's move on to the next question. While Texas's win against the Wildcats was definitely impressive, their upcoming matchup against the undefeated TCU Horned Frogs is a whole different animal. Literally, because Wildcats and Horned Frogs are different animal. Anyway, TCU is going to be coming into Austin ranked 4th in the AP poll and ranked 4th in the CFP poll. It's a matchup that's sure to be met with much fanfare, as evidenced by College Game Day's decision to come back to Texas for the 2nd time this season. I guess they just didn't get enough the first time. With such a hyped matchup against such a quality team, the Longhorns are going to have to be in top form in order to give TCU a competition. So contestants, who on the team is going to have to step up if Texas wants to earn that spot at the top of the Big 12? And Justin, we'll start with you.
I'd have to go with the secondary. You know, TCU has an extremely balanced attack. The secondary is going to have to stay extremely disciplined. With guys like Quentin Johnston, who is an absolute monster for TCU, secondary is really going to have to be on their A game. Max Duggan is 4th in the FBS in his efficiency as a quarterback. And if this Texas team wants to step up and win this game against the number 4 ranked TCU Horned Frogs, it's going to have to be the secondary. Guys like Deshaun Jameson, everybody in that second level is really going to have to stay up, make sure they're disciplined on the run, but also watching out for that deep ball and Quentin Johnston all the way down the field.
Absolutely. Johnson, one of the best wideouts in the entire country. The secondary is going to have to be on their A game. Stella?
I think this weekend, beating Kansas State on the road definitely gave us a confidence boost that we desperately needed. I'm hoping that this week, well, first of all, Quentin Johnston, we just have to stop him. Even though he is coming off an ankle injury right now, that's no excuse to keep our eye off of him. He should be covered the whole game, and we have to just stop him. I think our defense definitely needs the most improvement. I think that we should utilize 3-man fronts. Even though that doesn't necessarily put a lot of pressure on the opposing team's quarterback, I think that could be useful in stopping runs. And the more runs we can stop, the better position we're in. So.
Absolutely, yeah. There's some Big 12 teams that have success doing three-man fronts. Iowa State, Oklahoma, even though their offense doesn't look great, their defense isn't bad. So I think that could prove valuable. Courtney?
So I'm actually going to go with the coaching staff, specifically Steve Sarkisian. I think he needs to definitely step up his play calling if Texas wants to win this game. He gets a lot of quality plays in the first half, but once he starts getting to the second half, he likes to play it safe. And with the TCU team that likes to keep it close and has proven time and time again that they can pull out these close wins, being kind of uncreative with your play calling, especially in that second half, is going to be detrimental to the team. Courtney Yarrish has 111 passes in the first half, but only has 62 in the second half. So he doesn't trust his quarterback in the second half. Without that, you can't create a rhythm, and they're just going to stack the box against Bijan Robinson and Roshan Johnson. And so I think he just needs to get more creative and let Quinn get a rhythm, and Texas has a chance.
Absolutely, yeah. Texas sleeping in the second half has been a problem, not just this season, but last season as well. And I think you can't do that against a quality opponent like TCU. So for that answer, I'm going to give you the 3. Stella, I'm going to give you the 2. I liked your defensive strategy. And Justin, don't worry, you're getting the 1 here, but there's still plenty of time. Moving on to the other kind of football, even though here in America we call it soccer. Texas soccer failed to win the Big 12 championship after unfortunately falling to West Virginia, but they still have a chance to add some ice to their trophy cabinet with the NCAA championship tournament on the horizon. The Longhorns are a 7 seed on the bracket, and for their first matchup, they draw the very familiar face in the Texas A&M Aggies, so that certainly should be an exciting game. Contestants, we've seen this Texas team stack up impressive wins all season, but how far do you predict they'll go in the tournament and why? Stella?
I have faith in Texas soccer. I think that we will beat A&M. I think that Duke will be a road, lock in the road. I think that's going to be a tough one, and I think that is where we will be defeated, unfortunately.
Just because their soccer program is great. Not that ours isn't, but I just think that they are very, very skilled, and it's going to be a hard one to beat. So I think we'll be out round 2.
Absolutely, yeah. Duke is just, while Texas is good, Duke just sometimes looks a little bit better. But, I mean, a second round berth isn't bad. Courtney?
Yeah, I'm actually have the same answer. I think Texas A&M and Texas will be close. I think Texas will pull it out, trying to avenge the loss that they just had. But I think the ACC conference as a whole, in terms of just soccer, is too strong. There's a lot of North Carolinas in that division, so I believe Duke is battle-tested. They've been through a lot, and I think that they will beat Texas in the second round.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw, seeing which opponents that you face up against in the bracket, and Duke is a tough one for Texas. Justin?
You know, I'm going to have to agree with my 2 contestants here. I think that Texas is a great team overall, but you're going to be playing a rival in Texas A&M at home, and while that's going to be a great home field advantage, you know, then you're going to have to go on the road against Duke, most likely, in a really hostile environment. It's going to be a tough win to try and take out. If they can survive Duke, there's no limit on how far this Texas team can go, but they're in a really tough position in this bracket. There's one loss. Harvard, South Carolina is really good. USC is also in this side of the bracket. So it doesn't mean that Texas can't go all the way, but they're in a really, really tough part of the bracket, and I don't see them getting any further than Duke.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you all answer the same answers, but that doesn't mean that any of them are wrong. In fact, I think all of them are right. That's exactly what I would say, too. So on this one, I think I'm going to give Justin the 3, Stella, you're going to get the 2, and Courtney, you are going to get the 1, and that rounds out our A block. But don't worry, we still have plenty of time to go. 3 questions in, we got a good battle on our hands. Jumping out in front early is Justin with 7. In second place is Courtney with 6, and then right behind him is Stella with 5. Still a lot of time left to go, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on College Crossfire.
Tenders.
I don't know why. I mean, when we started winning games, I was like, okay, but like, how long is this gonna go on?
Yeah.
Because they gotta go.
What the? Okay, it's probably not the mic. It's probably just the audio board. I blame you. Sorry. Hey, I was watching it. Whatever my nose.
Welcome back into College Crossfire. To get everybody caught up, let's start with a quick score recap. It's Justin in first with 7 points, Courtney right behind him in second with 6, and Stella right behind him in third with 5. Still a lot of time to go, still anybody's game, so let's get right into this next round of questions, starting with the Houston Astros, who won their second World Series in the last 5 years, and hey, they may have actually won this one legally this time, so go Astros. Yeah. Any hope of a Phillies upset? Heck, any hope of even a Game 7 was squashed on Saturday night as Jordan Alvarez crushed a massive 3-run homer in the bottom of the 6th, which all but sealed the deal for Houston. Now they'll have their second ring and seem to have all the makings of a dynasty as nearly the entire roster is coming back for 2023. However, looking forward, it's not the Astros but the Dodgers who have emerged as the betting favorite for next year's World Championship. Contestants, do you think the Astros should be the favorite to run it back next year? And if not, who do you think should be? Justin, we'll start with you.
I don't see why the Astros shouldn't be the favorite. As you said, almost their entire roster is coming back. Guys like Jordan Alvarez, Valdez, and Pena are all going to be returning, and they ran through the MLB playoffs this past season. So I don't see why the Astros shouldn't be the favorite. You could give it to a team like the Braves or the Dodgers, but once again, when you've been to the World Series 4 times out of the last 6 years and you've won 2 of those, I don't see why you shouldn't be the betting favorite.
Absolutely. The Astros are one of the best in the league at getting and retaining talent. Stella?
I personally think it's a little too early to tell. They have an uncertain offseason ahead of them. They just lost Justin Verlander. I believe he's a free agent now. So I think that there's some more surprises that can come in this offseason. I believe that they're second right now, plus 700, right behind the Dodgers. Yeah, I think it's uncertain. I think it's too early to tell. They did play a great, game, but way too early to tell.
Absolutely, yeah. Losing an ace like Verlander, or potentially losing an ace like Verlander, he could come back. It's sure to cause a little bit of uncertainty. Courtney?
Yeah, I think it's just ridiculous that the Dodgers are over the Astros in terms of betting favorites. I think when dominance happens, dominance should be respected. There's no reason why the Astros should not be the favorite for this year. They have a lot of depth, and they might lose people like Verlander, but they've lost people before, and they've still dominated the AL for like 5 to 6 years, and I don't ever see it changing. And I believe they're going to be primed for another run next year and years after that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say the Astros aren't the favorite when they looked pretty dominant coming into this World Series and winning this World Series. So I think, Courtney, you're going to get the 3 here. Stella, you're going to get the 2. And Justin, you are going to get the 1. All right, the next question I may or may not have wrote purely for our boy Tommy Yarrish back at home. Previously mentioned Justin Fields, Stan, who has really seemed to catch on fire in the recent weeks of his sophomore campaign for the Chicago Bears. And when it comes to second-year NFL players, it's not just Fields who's lighting up the league. Jalen Waddle is going scorched earth in Miami opposite Tyreek Hill. Travis Etienne is carrying the Jaguars with his rushing ability. And both Micah Parsons for Dallas and Patrick Surtain for Denver look like legit candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. Not to mention many, many more. Watching all this great young talent on display, contestants, who do you think is the second-year player who's taken the biggest leap from their rookie season? Stella, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's played great, and he's had the second highest passing grade against the Colts defense. He went 23 of 32 for 235 passing yards. And I think this is a great stat line. And I think, I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's been great.
Absolutely. Trevor Lawrence, yeah. Last year, everybody could see the talent was there. It was Urban Meyer maybe holding him back a little bit, but having Doug Peterson, I think, has been a big help for Trevor. Courtney?
Yeah, so I think a little preface here is the consensus best players in this draft, in my opinion, were Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons. But in terms of who took the biggest leap this year, I think it was Patrick Surtain, PS2, coming from Alabama, top 10 pick. I think he definitely stepped up his talent this year as a top 3 corner. He has likes of Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks, and just more that he's put on his resume. He held Mike Williams to 0 catches, 0 yards, and he held Brandon Ayuk to 0 catches, 0 yards, held Brandon Cook to one reception, 5 yards. He's been on a tear. He's had this defense up to actually a top number 1 pass defense and number 2 total defense. And if he had some type of special teams help and offensive help, the Denver Broncos would be wrecked. Something to be messed with.
Yeah, Denver, elite defense. Who knows what they would have if they had an elite offense. But Patrick Surtain, to your point, has been just an eraser of elite wide receivers. He's been really, really good. Justin?
You know, Stella brought up former Clemson player Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to piggyback off of that with a different Clemson player also on the Jags, Travis Etienne, carrying fantasy squads across the nation. His last 4 games, he's averaging 6 yards a carry. He's had 4 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. And Travis Etienne has been absolutely electric. He took James Robinson's job. James Robinson gets traded to the Jets, and since then has been absolutely unstoppable in both the run game and catching passes out of the backfield. Travis Etienne, he's been incredibly versatile. I think he's taken the biggest leap out of any of these second-year players.
Yeah, and when you think about Travis Etienne, this is really his de facto rookie season. He didn't even play last year because of a Liz Frank injury, and he's lighting the league on fire. So I think because of that, Justin, I'm going to give you the 3. I really like Surtain, Courtney, so I'm going to give you the 2, and Stella, I'm going to give you the 1 here. All right, moving on to the NBA. Ever since the season started back on October 20th, the only thing that makes sense around the league is that nothing makes sense around the league. There's teams that look like juggernauts entering the season that have stumbled out of the gate, like the 76ers or the reigning champion Warriors. And there's teams who people suspected would be entering the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes next year that are at the top of their conferences, like the Portland Trail Blazers or, I can't believe I'm saying this, the first place Utah Jazz. Contestants, with the league all topsy-turvy after 3 weeks, what team has been the biggest surprise to you? Courtney?
Yeah, so there's been a couple positive surprises, but I'm actually going to go with the negative surprise. I think the Golden State Warriors have been nothing but disappointment. I know we have a couple Warriors fans in TSTV Sports, but so I'm sorry to say it. They are, I believe, 4-7 right now, 12th in the Western Conference. If the playoffs that happen right now, I know we have a lot of season to go, they would not be in the play-in or the playoffs. And I mean, as a defending champion, it's just unacceptable. Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and James Wiseman don't look like they should be playing for the Golden State Warriors. They should be playing for the Santa Cruz Warriors. And I just think that Draymond Green has been a shell of himself. Jordan Poole has had a down year, and I just think they need to pick it up. They have a good coach. I believe they'll step it up, but I just think right now they have some issues.
Yeah, still a lot of season left for the Warriors, but maybe that off-court drama during the off-season may have affected them a little bit more than normal. But you mentioned Warriors fans in TSTV. You got one sitting right next to you. Speaking of, Justin, what's your answer?
You know, you could totally go with the Warriors. That's a valid choice, but I'm going to have to go with a good surprise in the Portland Trail Blazers. They're sitting at number 3 in the West right now, and after last offseason, not many people really thought they would be much. You know, they were encouraging Dame to leave, run from the grind, if you will. But Anthony Simons has taken a huge leap. Jeremy Grant looks like he's fitting in really nicely in Portland. And they've hit a couple really lucky shots at the end of games to give them a win. And sometimes that's all you need. Again, the Portland Trail Blazers were not thought to be a heavy contender this season. They've looked great so far. Rookies like Shadon Sharp and some of their younger guys have looked incredibly good for them. I'm going to have to go with the Trail Blazers. I don't think anybody thought they'd be here.
Yeah, you mentioned lucky shot. I know that one they hit against the Miami Heat, I think it was Josh Hart who hit that shot. Yeah, not often you see a Trailblazer, other than Dame, hitting clutch shots, so you know it's a good year. Stella?
Mine's pretty obvious. I'm going to go with the Utah Jazz. After being predicted to be the lowest in the Western Conference after losing Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, I think they've really shown up and have played great. I don't think that they will keep it up the whole season, though, but I think they have a real chance of playing in the that tournament.
The play-in tournament?
The play-in
Yes.
tournament. Yeah, I think they've looked great.
All right, good answers all around. Yeah, I think that the Utah Jazz somehow look like they may have even gotten better after losing their stars Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, but they got guys like Markkanen, who's doing really well, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson. The Jazz somehow look really good by hook or by crook. Anyway, we're 6 questions. Oh, wait, I forgot to give you all points for that one. All right, Stella, I think you're going to get the 3 here just because the Jazz, I mean, who even knew that they were coming out? Justin, I'm going to give you the 2, and Courtney, I'm going to give you the 1. We're 6 questions in with 3 to go, and it's still wide open on the leaderboard. Leading the way is Justin with, let me do some quick math here, 13 points. Right behind him is Courtney with 12, and then Stella is right behind him with 11. Really, really close, still neck and neck. We got one more round left to go, and you know what that means. Rapid Fire is coming up next on College Crossfire.
Great luck, guys.
Welcome back. It's time for the last 3 questions of the night for us here on College Crossfire. You know what that means. It's the rapid fire round, where the points are worth double, so it's anybody's game. If you're new to the show, rapid fire is our 3rd and final segment where our contestants will have to answer 3 questions, just like they have been in the last 2 rounds, but this time they have no idea what I'll be asking. Everything is going to come off the dome. They say defense wins championships, but that's just not true. It's rapid fire. Rapid fire wins championships. So let's find out who tonight's champion will be. Here we go. While Astros fans have been jumping for joy about their team's World Series win, perhaps no other fan has been happier about the result than James Franklin Mackingvale, also known as Mattress Mack, Texas sports superfan and owner of Gallery Furniture. He placed roughly $10 million worth of bets at various sports books at the start of the season, and they all hit when the Astros won the World Series, netting him $75 million. That's the largest legal sports bet payout in recorded history. While Mack is intended to give some of the money to the loyal customers of Gallery Furniture, and I'm sure he's keeping a lot of it for himself too, it got me thinking, contestants, what on earth would you do if you won $75 million overnight? Anybody can jump in. I know what I'd do, but what would y'all do?
$75 million, that's a lot of money. I would probably start by dropping out of school, effective immediately. $75 million, dropping out of school, taking a vacation, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Hawaii. We're going to, you know, take a vacation, calm down for a little while. And then when we return to the real world, I'm investing that money. Got to make more money with the money, whether it's sports betting like Mattress Mack or regular investing. You got to do something to make more money.
Absolutely. I like that grind set mentality.
Exactly.
You know, make your money work for you, as they may or may not say. I'm not in those business classes. I don't know.
All right, so I think actually I was finish my degree. You know, my mom told me never to run from the grind, so stay true to it. You know, I'm gonna finish my degree, but all expenses paid. After that, you know, might as well get my graduate degree too. Might as well go graduate school. You know, just finish it out. All expenses paid. Actually, after that, let's say I got that money from the Astros. I'm gonna give the players a little bonus. They deserve it. They want me the money. Take care of my family too. You know, and just enjoy life after, you know, having a PhD.
Absolutely, yeah. Setting up the future with that.
You never know when that money's gonna go.
Setting it up, absolutely. Never run from the grind. You could fit in with the Trailblazers with that mentality there. Stella?
Definitely going to travel the world 100%. So many places I want to go. I would build a house in Italy. I'd build a house in Florida. California. Just build a house everywhere, honestly. And I would try and buy an NFL team. I would definitely want to own a team for sure. That's something on my bucket list.
Yeah, sounds good. Oh man, I like the idea of just building houses everywhere you go.
Just everywhere.
Anywhere you go, you always got a place to stay. You don't got to deal with hotels, you know. Yeah, you could build it in the mountains, you could build it on the beach, you could build it anywhere. So for that reason, Stella, I'm going to give you the 6. Justin, again, love the grind set mentality. I'm going to give you the 4 there. And Courtney, while it is a very admirable goal, you know, finishing out your degree, PhD, taking care of your family.
20 years,
yeah. I love the sound of that, but you know, it's not as fun as the other 2. So even though it's more responsible, so I'm going to give you the 2 there. All right. This season hasn't been a good one for the Indianapolis Colts. They fired their offensive coordinator Marcus Brady, changed their starting quarterback from Matt Ryan to Sam Ehlinger, and have still lost 3 of their past 3 straight games. Something's got to give, and that something, unfortunately, was head coach Frank Reich, who got shown the door on Monday. In his place, Indy has named Jeff Saturday as interim coach, who's most well known for being the Colts' former All-Pro center during the Peyton Manning days. We can discuss the merits of the hiring another day, and maybe they should have gone with someone else, I don't know. But for the sake of rapid fire, let's just ask this question. If your team's head coach was fired tomorrow, what former player from your team would you want to take his place? Anyone can jump in.
I got to go with Matt Ryan. I know he's on the Colts right now. I'm a Falcons fan, but Matt Ryan is a great football mind. He might not have the physical ability to still get it done, but he won an MVP back in his heyday, and he learned from the best. And guys like Kyle Shanahan, Steve Sarkisian was an offensive coordinator, Dirk Cutter, and guys like Mike Smith, Arthur Smith. He's learned from a lot of great football minds. He'd be a great football coach. He was in Atlanta for a ton of years. The city still loves him. Got to go with Matt Ryan.
Absolutely. Matty Ice, even though he's not fitting in well at Indy, clearly. In Atlanta, he was kind of a killer. He won that MVP, went to that Super Bowl. I'm not going to remind you how that Super Bowl turned out. but I think that he could be a good interim coach.
All right, I know he's a little old, but I'm going to throw it back a little bit. One of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the Saints franchise, I'm actually going with Archie Manning. You know, he played when the Saints were really bad. They had bags over their head. But he's a good football mind. I mean, he raised 3 sons, Cooper, Peyton, and Eli. Cooper didn't make it, but Eli and Peyton are, I don't know about Eli, but Peyton's definitely a Hall of Famer. And, I mean, he's been around the football landscape ever since he's been playing football for the Saints and even before that in college. So I just think, you know, I don't know how much years he has left, but I think, you know, having him on the sideline and give a little inspiration to players, a Louisiana legend, and I just think he'll bring some fire to the team.
Absolutely. Manning's very loved in Louisiana. I like what you're going with. You know, if he's the coach, per se, if he's the dad of some great quarterbacks, he can get some great quarterback play. And not to mention, he could possibly recruit Arch Manning to come to New Orleans. You know, I know that recruiting isn't necessarily how the NFL does it. It's more the draft. But still, Arch Manning would be a good landing spot with Archie Manning.
I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. Aside from being a great quarterback, he also seems like a great husband. You know, anytime, like, I always see pictures of him and his wife, and they just look so happy. I think that his overall demeanor would be great in a head coach, you know. I think he presents qualities that would be great in coaching a football team.
Yeah. I never thought about, you know, being a family man, how it translates to being a good coach. But I think so. You know, he seems very loyal. He seems very energetic in all of his pursuits. Yeah. I think he'd be a good coach. But I think that, Courtney, I'm going to give you the 6 for this one for going all the way back to the Aints days for Archie Manning. You know? Justin, I'm going to give you the 4. I don't think Atlanta's a bad landing spot once Matt Ryan's done with the Colts, which may be this year. And Stella, I'm going to give you the 2. All right, last question here, guys, for all the marbles. As mentioned earlier in the show, College Game Day is making its return to Austin for the Texas-TCU game this weekend. And last time they were here during Alabama, we witnessed a bromance blossoming in front of our very eyes between Game Day cast member Pat McAfee and our very own basketball coach, Chris Beard. Now that Pat's coming back to UT, they're sure to link up before game day. So contestants, imagine you got added to this friend group that we got going here. Anything goes. How would you spend the day around Austin with Chris Beard and Pat McAfee?
We are going to Terry Black's. That's the first thing we're doing. I don't care how long the line is. Terry Black's is a must. Maybe walk around South Congress, you know, see what's up, you know, check out the stores. And then at night we're going to 6th Street. We're having a fun time. Definitely going to hit up Dollar Slice after that.
Absolutely.
Get some pizza.
Yeah. I bet those guys can put away some mean barbecue. And I know Terry Black's a little expensive, so it's good to get their card to pay for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So I think I would definitely get, you know, a private practice for the basketball team. Get to see my favorite players with Chris Beard. On the Pat McAfee side, he actually works for WWE, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a flight to Florida, and I'm gonna go ahead and see my favorite superstars. You know, Roman Reigns. You know, there's a lot of people over there. He actually is an announcer there, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and hang out with Triple H and all them, and I'm gonna come back to Austin, and we're just gonna watch the game. I'm going to watch some punting film with Pat McAfee. I've always respected the art of punting. I think they're disrespected as a player. So I'm going to love that film. And, I'm going to go ahead and go eat out. I just had Cabo Bob's, actually. It was pretty good. So we're going to go to Cabo Bob's. And, we're going to enjoy ourselves.
Nice. That sounds good. Yeah, I like the idea of going to a WWE match with Pat McAfee. You know, see some Roman Reigns. See some, I think Jake Paul or Logan Paul just tore his ACL. But maybe you could bring some old legends back. You know, some Undertaker, some Stone Cold Steve Austin, those guys. Justin?
You know, I like the idea of the private practice. I think I'm going to have to get in on that practice. Maybe do a shooting competition with Chris Beard, Pat McAfee. Loser has to buy dinner that day. After the private practice, I'm going to talk to Pat McAfee about what happened on that trick play whenever they played against the Patriots all those years ago. If you remember that absolutely abysmal play, just question him, like, what was going through your mind, you know, what's going through the team's mind. And then after that, like I said, use their card for dinner. I'll let Chris Beard choose. He probably knows some better spots in Austin, and then hit up 6th.
Absolutely, yeah. End the night with 6. You always got to end the night with 6. But I think that we need some answers for what happened on that trick play. You know, Pat McAfee, the Colts. What even happened? What was the plan there? What were they cooking? I mentioned cooking earlier, but I don't know what they were cooking. And because I really, really need to know that, Justin, I think you are going to get the points for this one. All right, great answers, guys. If I could give all of y'all the win, I would. But as you know, there can only be one victor. So, today's College Crossfire champion, if I can do a little bit of quick math, is, drum roll please, guys. All right, got it. Justin Goosman. Justin, congratulations on your victory. Cece, do we have time for FaceTime?
Yes.
Yes. Excuse me.
As Jordan dies over here, we're going to go ahead and get into FaceTime. It was a pleasure being back. I want to shout out my mom, my dad. They're probably not watching, but if you are, hey, how's it going? And then last but not least, the Warriors need to get back on track. Figure it out, because I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated and annoyed. Figure it out, please. Steve Kerr, do your thing.
Absolutely. Some clear-cut accomplishables there for the Warriors. Steve Kerr, hopefully you're not watching this. Hopefully you're watching some film, preparing for some games. But if you are, Justin has a message for you. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Thank you again to our winner, Justin Goosman, and thank you to Courtney and Stella for coming on as well. It is always a pleasure. And thank you for bearing with me through my first gig as host. And don't worry, if you couldn't stand the sight of my face, Tommy will be back next week taking his rightful seat right here as the best host on all the 40 acres. That'll do it for us here in TSTV Studios. Oh, I gotta go. Cough again, I'm dying. Before you go, make sure to come back Friday mornings for the One and O Sports Show and Monday nights for College Press Box. Thank you to our live studio audience for coming out and being great as usual tonight. For our contestants, everyone in Master Control, our executive producer Jordan Geelhoed. Oh wait, that's me. I'm Jordan Geelhoed. Excuse me, I keep coughing. Thank you to our substitute director Adam Ogburn and Samantha Pearl for taking over my job tonight so I could sub in here. And thank you to all the other great folks at TSTV as well. My name is Jordan Geelhoed saying good night, and Tommy will see you next time.